AITA for telling my son he's delusional to think that I'll approve his marriage. My son, 25, introduced me to his fiancée Sarah, 20. He informed me yesterday that he was about to marry her. He has dated her for about 7 months in total. I was introduced to her 2 months ago. I will say it outright, I don't like Sarah. She's a messy, and by messy I mean she looks like she lives in a dumpster. Rude. She'll cuss you out when you eat the last of the chocolate, even if it's your chocolate, because she wanted it. Source. She did it to my daughter. I saw it with my own eyes. Wasteful, and quite conceited. My son and her are banned from family gatherings after a particular incident. I have told my son the truth about it when he asked for my honest opinion after I met her. But in the end he's an adult and I don't control his life. When he told me about the engagement, he asked me, since it's been 2 months, if I approve of her now. I laughed a bit and told him no, I don't. And he got mad, asked me why. So I gave him the following reasons. They're 20 and 25 and getting married, which I think is a bit too early, since they've known each other for around 7 months. Neither of them have a stable income or know how to cook and clean, so they're hitting a disaster zone and they're not going to have a prenuptial again. I don't like her, but again I told him he's an adult, so it's his choice. I also told him they were going to have to move out because I have 3 other underage kids to look after. And Sarah is not at all nice or kind to them, and that I won't support him and Sarah. Just if they arraign an emergency. Right now I fully pay for and house him. He pays no rent, and he has a part-time job and his monthly salary, if they budget it, will give them more than enough for essentials plus savings. Sarah owns her apartment, so no rent, plus I am fully paying for his college, so no loans to worry about. But other than that they have to figure it out something themselves. I also told him not to expect me to pay for his wedding, because A, they want a very extravagant one, and B, with the cost of living rising I want to save enough money to make sure my youngest, who is in 8th right now, will have the same opportunity as Shim. He got mad at me and left. I recounted this to a few of my coworkers and they think I am in the wrong. So I have come here to ask some strangers, am I wrong? AITA for going nuclear on a house guest. So I, 31F, and my fiancé, 35M, just moved into a new build apartment together. I will say now I have some strong scent aversions, particularly to cigarettes. My fiancé's cousin, Dave, 41M, recently moved to our town but for some reason couldn't move into his new house until the 15th, so he asked if he could stay with us. Dave is a smoker. I originally wanted to say no because I know how cigarette odor is, but my fiancé convinced me to let them stay. I agreed with the caveat that Dave cannot, under any circumstances, smoke in the apartment. Everyone agreed and I thought it would be fine. Weather around here for the last few days has been dreadful and Dave goes out to smoke a couple of times a day, so he had been asking if he could smoke with the patio doors open, and I said no. Today the weather was awful, cold and rainy, and as I was driving up to our apartment I thought I would see Dave smoking out front, but instead I saw the patio doors open. I was immediately suspicious, so I went up to our door and the smell hit me before I even got into the house. Dave was sitting on the couch, smoking, with all the windows open and a fan on. I guessed to try and hide the smell. I lost my hit. Didn't even give him time to put the cigarette out. I just started screaming at him. I called him an inconsiderate slob, and a filthy smokestack, and a few more things that were worse. I was just screaming. Dave was panicking and put the cigarette out, in an ashtray, thank God, and he was just trying to calm me down, but I did not stop screaming. I yelled him to get his hidden to get the heck out of my apartment. I kept screaming until a neighbor showed up to see what was going on. I just grabbed my laptop and purse and left the apartment. I called my fiancé at work and told, not very calmly, him what Dave had done and that I wasn't coming back until the apartment no longer smelled like a cheap casino. I am currently staying at a friend's place. My fiancé called a little while ago and said Dave had left and that it didn't smell that bad and to just come home. I told him not until the smell is entirely gone. I guess Dave told my fiancé's family what happened because my fiancé's mom called, and while she agreed what Dave did was wrong, that I was totally out of line exploding at him like that and kicking him out. The rest of my fiancé's family, at least those with my number, have been texting me telling me I am an SS because of my reaction. Now Thas have had some time to calm down and I'm away from the situation. I do feel kinda bad, but he did break me number 1 rule. So, Reddit, AITA for going nuclear on a house guest? Edit. Thank you all for your feedback. I haven't reached out to Dave yet, but apparently he left out some details when relaying the story to his family. Thought has now been corrected and most of them have apologized for attacking me. My fiancé has arranged for carpet cleaners to come by tomorrow and is looking into getting an ozone machine running for a few days. As for my reaction, yes, in hindsight it was way over the top. I shouldn't have yelled as much as I did. I will be reaching out to the neighbor to apologize. For those of y'all who think I am completely unhinged, I am in therapy and will probably be discussing this at the next session. Scent aversions can be insanely hard to get through. If you've never experienced it.
AITA for telling my parents and my extended family that my sister is none of their concern anymore. My sister recently turned 18 and moved in with me, 20F. To provide some context, I need to go into her childhood. My parents named me Serafina, and apparently it was my mom's favorite name ever, and once they had me named, they were happy. When my sister was born, they picked the top name of that year, which was Emily. Not as much thought went into it really. But they figured safe was better. Nothing. Extended family loved my name and showered a ton of praise on it my whole childhood, and would often make snide comments about Emily's name and how it was a shame her name was nothing compared to mine. Some would even ask our parents how come they ran out of really beautiful names after just me, and mom and dad would sit and laugh it off. All of this was happening when Emily could hear. Often, around my name came with praise for how pretty I was and how my name suited me that way. She never got that kind of praise or positive attention at all. A beautiful name for a beautiful girl and all of that. I would tell them to stop bringing it up around Emily and was ignored. I'd tell her that her name was pretty too and that she shouldn't listen to our family. It chipped away at her confidence, at her self-esteem. When I turned 18 and moved out, he made sure Em had a safe space with me. It helped, but she still felt unsupported and like the family didn't like her very much. When she turned 18 a couple of months ago, she moved in with me and cuddies with our family. I have helped her find a therapist and have reminded her every day that she's important and loved, and that our family were dicks for always overlooking her and tearing her down to lift me up in her presence. It was only a week ago our extended family invited us to a family wedding. Em didn't want to go and neither did I, so I RSVP'd no. This led to contact from a few of them saying Em is always at these things and I should stop hiding her from them. It told them Em is none of their concern anymore, to leave us alone. They told me Em is their daughter, granddaughter, niece, and that I have no right to say she's none of their concern. She will always be their concern. I told them they had 18 years to value her, and they tore her down and ignored me when I said what they were saying and allowing others to say was mean. They accused me of causing trouble because of what I said. AITA?
AITA for not buying a car for my stepdaughter? English is not my first language. I'm child-free. I like kids, I just don't want to bring one into this world. I have a sister and a brother. My sister is also child-free, but my brother has a 16-year-old daughter. We love our niece and we like to spoil her. For her 16th birthday we decided to buy a car for her, which made her very happy. I married my wife a year ago after dating for 13 years. She has a daughter and a son from her previous relationship. I like her kids and I think we generally get along. Her daughter turned 16 a week ago and I bought her a nice bag that she had said she wanted. I thought it's a good and thoughtful gift, but my wife looked shocked. She didn't say anything in front of the guests, but after the party was over she blew up at me and called me an AmItheAsshole. She said they expected a car since I bought a car for my niece. We got into a fight and she is not talking to me now. Edited a typo. We dated for 13 years, not 3 years.
AITA for telling a morbid joke about my son? Asking here because I don't feel comfortable discussing this with family or friends right now. My wife and I have 4 boys, 17, 15, 13, and 10. We lost our 15-year-old in an accident last October and grieving has truly been a process. My wife Andy have very different styles of grieving. I really like to talk about my son and what happened to him, but she wants to process things by herself and doesn't want to talk about it. We still have a very close marriage. We just talk about everything other than our son. My wife was out with friends today, and when she got home a few hours ago, she asked me where the boys were. I told her, oldest is with a friend, 13-year-old is out in the yard, 10-year-old is in the basement, and 15-year-old should be right where we left him. Immediately, she said I was up for saying that. I told her that I cope with humor and clearly, she doesn't. I respect what she does, but she's got to respect what I do. She called me a ucking pig for joking about our son like that and said she was taking the boys out for dinner. While they were out, She texted me to say that she's really horrified with how callous I am about the death of our son, saying she was genuinely concerned I might be a sociopath. When she got home, she went straight to bed. I tried to sit with her and she told me not to touch her. Our oldest asked me why their mom was in such a bad mood, and when I told him, he laughed at the joke. I think my wife is being extremely sensitive about this, but I also can understand this might be a time and place situation. Still, I think place should be my own home. AITA for telling a morbid joke?